So go ahead and sit on your blanket in any comfortable seated place that works for you. Shift your weight from side to side, not overextending, just a little shift, and then front to back. And what you want to happen is you want to feel the weight settle over your sit bones. Those are the bottom of the pelvis, right at the glutes, that you can feel the weight sort of settle. And this will bring your shoulders over your hips and help you to stay a little taller. So welcome to our gentle inversions for osteopenia and osteoporosis. I'm so excited to have you here with me today. So my name is Lisa Wickstead with Connections Yoga, and I love the opportunity to help you stay safe as you engage in your yoga poses. So the first thing we want to do in our yoga practice is connect to our breath. I invite you to roll the shoulders a couple of times. Let the shoulders just kind of cascade down the back. Relax one hand and the other hand may be brought to your heart or to your belly. And close the eyes and just take a few rounds of natural breath. You want to notice how you feel physically in the body and in the mind. And then we want to lengthen, deepen the breath. Inhale, lifting away from the earth. Squeeze the belly on the exhale. So coming into this two-part breath. Soft belly on the inhale. Squeeze the belly. As you squeeze the belly, that's going to help the core muscles and the back muscles to stay a little bit more stable and stronger. So let's take several rounds of this. Inhale. Soft belly, exhale, draw into the spine. About 2 more breaths. And at the end of your second breath, you just want to release the belly and notice what you feel. And then we'll bring that hand again to the heart where we set our intention for our practice, a word or a phrase that speaks to you. Perhaps it is non-judgment. Perhaps it's just self-care for you. Unless there's something else that speaks to you, say your intention to yourself a couple of times, and we'll breathe in this quiet space to really set that intention in. Go slow release and open the eyes. If your legs are crossed, you want to change the position of your legs to feel a little bit more balanced. And we'll start with connection to the breath. Hands by your side, palms to the sky. We'll inhale the arms up to the sky and then turn palms down and squeeze the belly just like we did with our breath work. And follow your breath. Now everybody's breath is different. Inhaling up and exhaling down. So we want to keep the spine long. Let's invite a warm-up before we come into our inversions. Just a gentle twist, a hand close to the pelvis to help you sit tall, and the other hand rest into your body. And then can you open the heart by squeezing the shoulder blades together? Feel free to keep the abs engaged. And then we'll release, come back to the center. Good. And then come over to the other side. Nice. Come back to the center. I want you to invite a forward fold. But for osteopenia and osteoporosis, we don't want to curl the spine. We want to keep the spine nice and long. Walk your hands forward and invite a little forward fold. So you want to feel long length through the tailbone, through the crown or top of the head. If you can keep the spine long on your way down, feel free to come a little further down. But we want to avoid that curled turtle shell spine. And then in the next breath, you're just going to walk your hands back and lift the whole torso up. And then shrug and circle the shoulders a couple of times. And we want to warm up the hips also. So let's bend the knees and plant the feet together in front of us. I'll give you 3 ways that you can do windshield wipers. Plant your hands or fists, I like fists with thumbs out, or hands with fingertips forward behind you. And then you're just going to lower the knees from side to side. Remember, we're just letting the legs relax down. We're not jerking or pressing the legs down. So this is one way that you can do your windshield wipers. Another way is to step your feet hip distance and shoulder distance apart, and you lower the legs. And then to make it wider, you step the feet out and lower the legs from side to side. So see what works best for your body to warm up the hips. Good. And then we'll let's start our practice lying down to the earth. So take your blanket or your towel, and you want to bring it so that the blanket is under your head and under your neck. And you want to lay down to the earth, wiggle the shoulders, and feel free to step the feet to the earth with knees bent. So our first pose is going to be to lift your right leg towards the sky. Point, flex, circle the foot. Then you're going to hug the right knee in. Feel some nice compression in that hip joint towards the belly and the flattening of the lumbar spine. And then we'll set that foot down, extend your left leg towards the sky, and point, flex, circle the foot here. And it doesn't matter if the knee is bent or if the knee is straight. Depends on if you want a hamstring stretch, you straighten the knee, or less intense, soften the knee. And then hug your knee in towards the chest. Feel that nice flattening of the back, so nice supportive back. And set the foot down. So we'll come into our first inversion, which is bridge pose. So you want to walk the feet so that the heels are under the knees. Feet are set hip distance apart. And take your hands, palms down, and you're going to plant them beside your pelvis. You want to keep the knees steady. And spread the toes, press into the feet. You're going to move the knees forward and gently lift the pelvis. Now, we're not trying to arch the spine, especially with osteoporosis and osteopenia. You only want to come up to where you could draw a line between your shoulders, your hip, and your knees, or even reaching your arms towards your knees and your hips are there rather than lifted. Try to keep the glutes soft. And I want you to take a big breath in, a big breath out, and then on your inhale, slowly bring the pelvis down. So bridge is a heart opener, and it's also an inversion. Let's press up on the exhale. So we're doing a reverse breath, which helps to strengthen the core muscles in the back. And you could hold or you can descend on the inhale. So if you're lifting the pelvis and lowering down, do that one more time. Good, and lower back down. We want to counter that lift of the inversion and that back bend, because bridge is a back bend, by holding the knees and drawing them into the belly. So this is called Apanasana. We'll plant our hands in around our knees with fingertips towards the feet. And you're just going to press the knees away and bend elbows and draw the legs into the belly. We'll do this a few times. Just a little bit of cat-cow motion for the spine. It helps to lengthen the spine and it helps to reset the body. All right. I'm going to have you roll over to your side. and come up to seated. Let's come to puppy dog and child's pose. So we'll come to hands and knees. Please use your towel or your blanket as a support for your knees. Gives it a nice cushion, and it really helps to protect those knee joints. So the first thing we'll do is child's pose. So with your toes pointed behind, you're going to draw your pelvis back and walk your hands forward and lower the heart down. I usually rest my elbows. You might rest your head to your hands or to your fist. And the pelvis doesn't have to be sitting on the heels. It can be a little bit up. So see what works best for your body. And breathe and connect to your intention. And then let's look how this is different than puppy dog. I want you to press your hands into the earth and come up to hands and knees. You want to draw your pelvis, your hips, right over top of your knees. And then we're going to walk the hands forward and descend the heart down to the earth. So you could bring your forehead down. You could stack your fist and rest your head on the fist. You could turn one arm and rest your head down and stretch out the other arm. Puppy dog is a shoulder stretch. It is a back bend, and it's an inversion. A little bit more intense than child's pose. Can you, instead of, if you feel like your belly and your back is swayed, and there's a big curve in the upper part of your back, can you draw the belly and back so that there's long length from your hip to your shoulders? And then you're going to press into the earth and come back for a moment to just sit and breathe. So you could sit on your heels, you could sit onto your glutes. Just a moment to let the blood return. Inversions actually changes the blood flow in our bodies, and it makes the heart work a little bit less. So it's really healthy for us. We're now going to come into downward facing dog. So come back to hands and knees. There's your table pose. I want you to spread the fingers. You could keep the wrist under the shoulders or walk the hands one palm, one hand print forward. You're going to tuck your toes and draw your pelvis back. So here are your options. You could stay in table. You could come to child's pose. If you want to try the downward dog, you press into your feet and you reach your pelvis back and reach the pelvis towards the sky. Now, the heels do not have to be down. The knees do not have to be straight. You could even pedal your feet, which bends one knee. The idea is you press away from your hands and you reach your belly or your chest towards your knees. Notice your head lower than your heart. All right, so if you are in child's pose or you are in downward facing dog, child's pose, you want to come back up to hands and knees. If you're in downward facing dog, you'll just walk your feet forward. Watch your towel or blanket. You might shift them out of the way. Wherever you are, take your time and walk forward into a forward fold. And then we're just going to lift our arms up towards the sky. Reach tall and exhale the hands to the heart center. Let's do mountain pose together. Let's check our hip distance. It's not the outside of our pelvis. It's where that bone comes at the tip of your front pelvis. So what we do to find that is we turn our heel to touch the arch of our foot and press down into the foot and come back to standing. Now, if you want a wider stance, feel free to do so. I want to invite you to shine the palms forward, roll the shoulders back, and feel tall, aligned, and connected. And breathe. Can you press your shoulders down gently to open the heart? Good. And then we're just going to sweep our arms up to the sky and add a little stretch over to one side, back to the center, and over to the other side. And then we'll just reach however you want from side to side. And meet back at mountain. Good. Let's invite a quarter sun salutation and a half sun salutation. That's typically about what I do in my practices. I usually don't do full sun salutations. Well, for a quarter sun salutation, you're just going to step your feet hip distance apart, squeeze your belly, and lift your arms. Let's bring palms facing each other up to the sky and down. Now, if you want to lessen the intensity, you just bring your arms forward from your shoulders and down. Let's change the direction of our palms. Shine your palms back behind you and inhale the arms up and down. And you can do that again. You can squeeze the belly as you lift your arms and soften the belly as you exhale. So let's take a half sun salutation, which incorporates a half fold and a forward fold. And that forward fold is what gives us our inversion. So inhaling the arms up in whatever form or fashion you want. You're going to reach back from the tailbone, long lean through the body, and lower down towards the earth. Now here in your forward fold, if you have osteoporosis and osteopenia, we want to try to keep the spine as long as possible. So rather than curl down and putting a lot of stress on the spine, you could use blocks. You could just keep it long. Yeah, and just see what works for you. I like to bend my knees and put the belly to the thighs. And that allows the torso to stay long, and you still get that head below the heart. And you don't have to worry about the curl of the spine. For our flat forward fold, you would straighten the knees and bring your torso parallel to the earth, so as if you were the number 7. Then we'll come back to your version of your full forward fold. And then I want you to sink your pelvis down, and you're going to lift those arms using the core muscles to lift up to the sky. And hands to the heart, and then we just breathe here in this space. What does your body need to release? Do you want a little bit of back massage, where you just rub your hands along your back? Would you like a gentle twist from side to side? You could add in legs. Just see what works for your body.
Feels good.
Good. Nice. All right. And we'll come back to the center. Let's try our forward fold with wide legs. So you step your feet out and you keep the feet facing forward. And we're going to do the same thing that we did with that full forward fold versus the half forward fold. When we come into a forward fold, you want to, this is going to open up the hips for you. We want to keep the core engaged. So squeeze the belly towards the spine. And something you can do is take your hand to your belly, just kind of hold it in, and take your other hand to your back, and that supports your back. Now I want you to think like you are leaning against a board, and the board is just tipping down, and you're going to come to that half fold where you think you're parallel to the earth, that number 7. You could stay higher if you want, or you can come flat back, your choice. Knees could be bent. Again, that gives a nice release to the back and less intensity on the hamstrings. I want you to use your core strength to lift back up to standing. And relax and breathe. Give it a good side breath. Big inhale, exhale through the mouth. All right, so we will engage the belly. We'll do that tipping back, pretending like you are having a board and you're just being lowered down. And we'll come into a wide-legged forward fold. You could bring your hands to blocks or hands to the earth. Remember, we want to avoid the curl of our spine for osteopenia and osteoporosis. Instead, we want to keep the spine long, tuck the chin. And again, for less hamstring stretch, you could bend the knees, and then you're lowering the whole torso down, and that gives you long length and more release for the back. So you decide on what works well for you in your inversion. And we want to take this just as slow coming back up. So if the knees are bent, straighten the knees and you're lifting the torso. When you're ready, squeeze your belly. Take your time, maybe bringing arms towards the sky. And exhale, hands to the heart. Yeah, and then you want to bring the feet together. And again, we want to find a release for the back. So it could be the massage. It could be a twist. What helps you to release? I like to give a lot of freedom in classes for choices, for variations, and also just moments where you can move into a space that feels good for you. Now let's come to our hips. Let's just open those hips a little bit. Step the feet out wide, and I want you to turn the feet. And here we'll take a low star pose. Reach from the shoulders through the arms, spread those fingers, and you want to have the weight settled into the front and the back of the feet. Now, if you want to take a more stretch for the torso and lengthening for the spine, you would reach your arms up beyond your shoulders. Palms could be up or palms shining forward for that version of star. And you could press your shoulders down if that feels good. And if you feel like releasing, you could twinkle your star side to side to see how much stretch or stillness you want. Good. Inhale, arms up. Bring the palms together. Exhale down and take your time turning those feet in and walking the feet back together. So we want to close with the recline pose. So grab your blanket again. Take your time going from standing down to the earth. And you want to lay down with the head and the neck, not the shoulders, on your blanket or towel. Now once you come down to your space, wiggle a little bit. Bend those knees, plant the feet, scoot your tailbones towards the heel, relax your shoulders or shake them out. We want to lengthen the spine as much as possible. So remember how we extended one leg up to the sky when we started the practice. We want to extend your right leg up to the sky, and if it's comfortable for you, extend the other leg. This gives us legs up. Now, a wonderful way to do legs up is just to plant your legs against a wall or a dresser or a door. You could plant hands to the earth, or you could hold onto your legs. If you hold onto your legs, can you relax the shoulders? You could also bend the knees and just wrap your hands around the back of your legs. So here we are in our inversion. It's a slight inversion. You could make this more intense by taking a block or a blanket and lifting the pelvis and setting the pelvis on a block, and that would lift the heart higher than the head. So wherever you are, take a couple of deep breaths. Good. And then bend your knees and hug your legs in. Take a couple breaths here just to feel that nice compression for the back. You could even rock a little side to side, and that'll give you a little massage for the middle and lower back. And then we'll take a short 2-minute Shavasana. So I invite you to extend the legs long, shake the feet out, and then see, do you want more support for the lower back and the middle back. If you do, then bend the knees and plant the feet to the earth. Again, I just kind of lift up the pelvis and reach it towards the feet. You could keep knees to the sky, or you could widen your feet and lower the knees together. The hands can be resting against the body or by your side with your palms to the sky to relax the shoulders. So here in this space, I invite you to just come to your natural breath, to breathe, to let the practice settle back into your body, to let the mind just be, to notice what it thinks or what comes into the mind. And we'll just be here for a couple of minutes. Breathe in this space with your intention. Deepen your breath. Let the breath renew, let the breath relax. And then I invite you, lie into the earth, wiggle those hands and feet. Turn the head from side to side. And then stretch out. And then hug your knees into your body and take a moment to rock from side to side. So if you're lying next to the earth, I'll have you roll over to your side and pause, and then the next breath or two, press yourself up to seated. And if you're already seated, we'll just continue to rock here, that nice soothing motion. Good. And then we'll come into our space, bringing our hands to the heart center. We'll close with a prayer breath of hands to the sky. Turn the palms down to the earth as you exhale, lower those arms, and then turn the palms up to the sky, bringing the palms together as you exhale the hands to the heart center. So you did a beautiful job. I want to thank you so much for joining me. At the end of this class, they'll pop up a little star rating. You can just give me a rating on how it went for you and how do you like the class. Thank you so much. May you go forth feeling peaceful and in good happiness. Namaste.
Namaste.